Hi everyone, Paudie here again, and I'd like to welcome you here to my home place, the Glen. Now, the Glen is traditionally regarded as the oldest area of town, and when I say town, I'm talking about Rathgogan, that townland of Rathgogan. So you're looking at an area that was settled along the river here, going back like 1,000 years. Seems like a long time, but that's what you're talking about. Now, of course, over the years, people would have lived all along the riverbank here, and they would have used it for their own personal use. They would have used it, of course, for animals. And in the centuries later on, once you get into the 16th, 17th century, you know, when the town started to become more prosperous, they used the river for industry. There was 3 flour mills here in town and 2 tanneries, you know. So the river was used a lot. It was vital cog in the town of Charleville at that time. Now, I suppose when we think of the Glen today, we think of it as from the main street here, the Cock Road, back as far as the bridge on New Line. But in days gone by, you know, houses would have gone beyond the bridge, over towards the Pitch and Putt, the Glenard area, all the way through here on both sides. And there was also housing that actually went across the road here and would have ran down what they would have called Rowland's Quay at the time. Now, as well as the houses here on Rowland's Quay, the river, the natural flow of the river actually turned at the back of the houses on Main Street as far as Broad Street, and then the river would have turned. And those houses along there were known as Noel's Quay. So it's kind of interesting that in a landlocked town we have 2 streets with very nautical names, Rowland's Quay and Noel's Quay. Now, I suppose I'm jumping up now the centuries again, and we're coming to famine times. And I suppose when people talk about the famine, you know, it evokes strong emotions of bitter sadness and anger. You know, and the Glen here was not spared at that time either. In the year 1848, an estimated 400 people were evicted out of their houses here in the Glen. And not alone evicted, but the roofing material that they would have used at the time was pulled down, burnt, so they couldn't be used again. And with no place else to turn to, the residents here took shelter above in the cemetery. Newspaper accounts of the time that came out here and reported the case just painted a very, very dire, bleak picture of the conditions that the poor people, you know, had to suffer at the time. You know, taking shelter against the headstones, and with poverty as well and hunger. It was desperate times. Now, roofing material for the remaining houses here was acquired, and certain people did come back. A certain amount of people did come back to live here in the Glen. But I suppose the amount, what tells the story really is the 1901 census. In the 1901 census, from 400 people that were living in here in 1848, now you're down to 99 people in 1901, in 23 houses. In the 1911 census, you're talking 22 houses and 91 people. So that will tell you the amount of people that didn't come back here to the Glen or either perished during the famine times as well. So that's where we are. Here we are in 2021, and currently in the Glen we have 7 houses and 9 people living here. So it's a huge change in population, you know, over the last 150, 60, 70 years, something like that. So we're going to go now talk to some of the residents here, and people that are born and bred here and people that are new to the area, and we're going to go talk to them. Okay, thank you.